Welcome to the Victory Lifestyle channel, and this is a series. Okay, we are in a series of breaking cycles with J Victory. I'm your host, J Victory, and tonight we are going deep into a place that is often forgotten but it's so vital. That is healing the inner child, just as the title of the video suggests. The title of our live stream suggests, not the video. I'm so much used to doing what? Uploading videos. So today we are doing our third live stream, a live stream that most of you have been asking for. So today I'm here. I considered you. Before we begin, I want to take a deep moment to thank each and every one of you. The way you guys really embraced my last uploaded video, that was toxic parents. That was so overwhelming. Your comments, your long DMs, some of you sent me voice notes on WhatsApp. I'm telling you, reading them reminded me why I do this each and every time I upload my video. And you guys are so brave, you guys are honest, and your healing matters to me. Yeah. So, what else? I want to remind you guys that healing is possible. It starts with seeing the child inside you and giving them the love and care they were once denied. Yeah, so that is what we're going to talk about today. So let's take a deep breath and see what we have today. That is, we need to begin this journey of healing together, healing that inner child together. Yeah, I hope you guys are doing really, really well. Yeah, so let's proceed and see what we have today. As I told you before when I was doing my other live stream, I mentioned about how I'm gonna be using storytelling as a tool to ensure that we get to understand what we're doing. Happy Friday, Daniel. I hope you're doing fine from wherever you're watching me from. You can as well comment where you're watching me from. Hi, Puri. So today I want to use storytelling. Okay, we're talking about healing the inner child. I uploaded a video. I think it was on Sunday. I uploaded a video about toxic parents, and I promised you guys a sequel towards it. That was healing the inner child. And so I chose to do this in live stream. So in my normal live streams, I've always been doing storytelling. I compose stories that I use. Hi Eddie, I hope you're doing fine. Yeah, so I'm gonna use storytelling that I composed. It's a story of a certain guy, and today I chose to go deeper. That is in Western Kenya. Let's talk about, what is it, Mount Elgon. To my international subscribers, Mount Elgon is one of the volcanic mountains here in Kenya. I think it's located along Kenya. Okay, it's located next to Kenya and Uganda border. If I'm not wrong, you can still correct me there. Yeah. High purity. So, okay, I'm gonna take you to the slopes of Mount Elgon. That there was a guy. I'm not gonna mention the name because it's not a personalized story. It's a composed story. It's a fictional story. So I don't want to mention names because it might turn out to be someone's true character. So this guy, he basically lived in the village and he was so simple, but not always kind. Okay, this guy was raised. He grew up collecting stones from the river, and each day he will carry stones, maybe with each day he will carry stones with him at home. His father was always so harsh because he will strike them away and tell him to stop playing with the stones because the stones will basically not feed him. But over time, this guy's joy came to be hidden. Okay, it was hidden at a point. He stopped showing excitement because the little things like Picking up stones was his fun activity to do. Hi, Kay. Is it Kay, honey? How are you? Yeah. So this guy will always carry stones, bringing them home, and since his dad will strike them away, his joy came to be hidden, and he stopped showing excitement, he stopped expressing emotions, and years later, a landslide struck the village. People panicked, but but this guy still didn't panic because it is something he has been doing when he was a child. He used to collect stones. So there was a landslide that struck the village. Remember, it's in the slopes of a mountain. And a little girl, was trapped in between the fallen rocks of the Mount Elgon slopes. This guy was not hesitant to go and help this lady. So he carefully removed the stones, remembering the lessons that he learned about stones when he was a child, and he rescued the girl safely. And at the end of the day, he managed. So when he was asked why he did that by the villagers, he just said it was because as a child he always collected stones, and even when life tried to break him, he kept on learning. That was when he was a child, but the child in him never died. That's what he said to the villagers when he was asked why he was doing that. Hi Danu. When did I start my channel, Fury? Okay, I started my channel, let's say it's now basically a month. I started in September 23rd. 23rd September is when I started uploading my videos. Yeah. And more love, Clayton. Danu, hi. Oh, thank you so much. I can see I'm from Kenya. Thank you so much. Yeah. So this child was asked like why was he doing that, and he mentioned that he kept on learning, and the child in him never died. So that means that his family had killed his ambitions, but he still kept on being resilient, and that sometimes the families we live in they may hid our gifts, our voices, and even our joy, but the inner child still it still carries the wisdom that we were supposed to have, that was supposed to be nurtured, the strength and the resilience, and healing is reclaimed. Healing is always reclaimed later on. Hi Peter, please, when you're speaking to me, use English. I can't understand your language. Okay, Clovis, you're watching me from Brazil. Thank you so much. You can as well please subscribe to my channel. Everyone who is here, kindly subscribe to my channel. That is the only way you can show me that you support me. So, this story that I've just mentioned, I think, I know it has not been that eloquent because of the interruptions I've been having. So it's gonna lead us into some subtopics that I've prepared for us when it comes to healing the inner child. And number one is understanding the inner child. I want us to understand what it means by healing that inner child first. The inner child is that part of you that remembers you. It remembers every joy, every fear, and every rejection that you've undergone. Every rejection you've undergone, you've gone through. It carries early beliefs about your worth and your place in the world. Good night. Edmond from Kenya. Thank you so much. Yeah. So when I was mentioning about healing the inner child, I'm trying to talk about understanding. And I understand that we have people from different denominations. I'm a Christian, and I'm gonna be quoting the Bible, quoting Bible verses for us to be able to understand how we can be able to understand this thing, inner child. At times your adult struggles with anxiety, overthinking, perfectionism, and it often comes from that inner child that you're trying to protect, you know yeah. Thank you so much, 7-star group. So in life, I'm gonna use some examples. We can talk about some people who constantly seek validations. That is because mostly when they were growing up as children, they were never told, they were not told that, they were never affirmed that maybe they were enough. And at times, what do I say? At times, adults overworking. Adult overworking and people pleasing come from that inner child that constantly seeks safety, you know. So as I've mentioned before, I'm gonna be using Bible verses to help us understand these. Who is coming who? Who is coming who? Okay. So we are gonna use the book of Psalms chapter 34 verse 18, and it says, the Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. And for those people who are free, you can as well go read Psalms chapter 147. it talks about it talks about the brokenhearted people. So like there is this writer who once said that when suffering knocks at your door and you tell it that there is no seat, it will sit on the floor. So that is basically how you get to understand this part of a healing of a child who has never been listened to, you know. And with this, I'm going to be speaking. Okay, I'm going to be giving the books that you can go ahead and read them. You can go ahead and read some other time, because I realize most of you people asked me, the people who have been DMing me on my app and my emails, you are asking me like whenever I'm posting a video, I should always remember to include a book to read that resonates with with the subtopic that I'm talking about. And some even asked me the kinds of podcasts I listen to. So I think as we handle a subtopic, talking about I'm going to be talking about okay, I'm going to be referring these two things. So there is this podcast by the name The Inner Child Podcast by Catherine Marin. I was listening to this podcast last week, so you can as well go listen to it. And also you can listen to you can read a book by Healing Your Emotional Self by Beverly Angel. It's a nice read. Please go do that. Headmaster, hi. Genesis Kabuye, hi. Okay, thank you so much for the topic that you people are listening. Do I have a page, not just a YouTube channel? Yes, I have an Instagram page. That is okay. You can go right Victory Joy. You'll see me there. If you've mastered my face, you can as well see me there. I have an Instagram page and as well as a Facebook page. I always speak to people. You can feel free to DM me. We can always speak. If you have any issue and you want a one-on-one session, you can as well talk to me there. And also I've added my number here. For those people who want to text me on WhatsApp and people who want to call me, you can as well feel free. Please give me the page links. Okay, I think at the end of the video, I'm gonna attach the page links. At the moment, I don't have the links, so I'm gonna attach it later on. The topic is okay. Thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate. I'm still nervous, but as time goes by, I'm gonna get so much courage. Yeah. So I was talking about, I was giving you the kinds of books that you can go and read, and I've talked about these podcasts. That was the Inner Child podcast by Catherine. And then there is this book, Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents by Lindsay. For those people who love reading books, you can go read that book. Right now, as I've told you, I'm reading this. This is my current read, Healing the Soul of a Woman by Joyce Meyer. So maybe we can get some few topics later on that we're going to be talking about next. So in our next subtopic, that is recognizing the wounds your inner child carries, we are talking about the signs that your inner child that we're going to vividly explain the signs that your inner child is wounded. And I can refer this in the book of Proverbs chapter 4 verse 23 and Isaiah chapter 16 verse 8, chapter 16 verse 18. But at the moment, I'm not going to read about it right now, but we can speak about your inner child carries memories your adult mind may ignore. At times wounds may manifest as overthinking, fear of abandonment, anxiety, the difficulty in trusting, and also over giving or people pleasing. And I promised you people when I uploaded the last video that I'm gonna talk about people pleasing in my next video. I think the video will be out on Monday or Sunday, so please watch out. So when I talk about overthinking, for those people who want to understand more about overthinking, you can still go back to my channel. This is my new subscribers. You can as well go listen to the video I did about overthinking. I spoke about overthinking, I explained it. I talked about breaking free from overthinking. So you can go listen to it, and maybe in one way or the other it's gonna help you. I also spoke about breaking free from fear, so you can as well go listen to breaking free from fear. So remember, I'm doing breaking cycles with Joy Victory. So at times I'm gonna also give an example of a man who, okay, let's talk of someone who is unpredictable. Okay, someone with unpredictable parents may struggle with consistency in adult relationships, and at times calmness to that person feels suspicious, or at times that love feels dangerous to him, because growing up they faced love that was not conditioned, that was not unconditional, it was conditional. And as I read before, I gave you scriptures to go listen, to go read. That was in Proverbs chapter 4 verse 23. It says, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. And then what do I, okay, when I say, how do I understand this Bible verse by how do I understand this Bible verse, Proverbs chapter 4 verse 23? It says that the world is not what it seems to be. At times it's what your enemies make it, you know. So yeah, that is basically it. And the kinds of podcast I can ask you to go and do, to go and listen to, is self-healing. And then there is this therapy by black girls. This therapy by black girls, I think it's an African based thing. It's a West African podcast, and it really helps. And for those people who like also listening to podcast again, you can also go listen to the. So at times there is this book I gave it before. It starts with us. It speaks about breaking some cycles. And also there is this one that says about it didn't start with you. It's also another book, different authors, by Mark Wallen. So number 3, I'm gonna talk about reparenting yourself. When I was doing okay, when I gave a video on toxic parents, I spoke about reparenting yourself. And reparenting is giving yourself what you didn't receive as a child. That is basically the definition of reparenting yourself. That is the constant validation. If you know you didn't lack, you didn't get attention, you can validate yourself. It's the constant safety, that love that you didn't receive, you can still give it to yourself, and the permission to feel. You know, you maybe when you're growing up, you're not given that permission to feel your own self, to feel some pain. This is the time for you to allow yourself, you can permit yourself to feel. So it's teaching your inner child that they're safe now, and the emotions really do matter. So instead of saying instead of saying I always fail, you can now start by saying I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm enough. And it's like you're correcting those lies that someone planted in you when you were still a child. So in Isaiah chapter 61 verse 1, it says that he has sent me to bind up brokenhearted. God actually binds up those people who are brokenhearted. You can always trust in God. Remember, I told you, whenever you're trying to heal, always remember to include God in your healing journey, because God is the ultimate healer. There is this person who once said that healing the land begins with healing the mind. I think it's self-explanatory. You can start healing the land by, everything starts from the mind. So it's basically healing starts from the mind, and it takes so much. You don't have to be too hard on yourself. It takes time for you to be able to heal well. And with this, I'm going to refer you with this podcast. I think on Purpose podcast by Jay Shitty. I think for those people who have listened to him, you can as well say that he does a very good job. Please go listen to him. And then for those people who are asking me about a book that they can read about this, you can go read Homecoming. That is, Homecoming really talks about reclaiming your inner child, and it was written by John Bradshaw. So number four, let's talk about allowing yourself to fail. I've told you before when I was mentioning, I think it was subtopic number two, I mentioned about allowing yourself to fail. So many of us were taught to suppress emotions. That is, at times when you're crying in front of your mom, they'll even slap you and tell you, stop crying, be strong. And one thing about guys, I think it's one thing that the society has really made guys face. The society has made guys, okay, male people, to know that a man should be strong. I think I need to dispute that men are not supposed to be strong. Men are also people. They're also human beings. You're also allowed to be vulnerable with someone. So you're not supposed to just like feel you are left out. It's okay to cry, it's okay to feel vulnerable. So these feelings at times may be buried. Okay, the feelings that may be buried right now, they can later on resurface as anger, anxiety, or even depression. And even some people turn out to be explosive with how they handle things because they were not used to speaking up when they felt somehow ish. So when you allow yourself to fail is essentially allowing yourself to heal. So an example is, there is this, okay, let's talk of someone. I'm not gonna put in gender thing, but let me just generalize this matter. There is this person who was grown up not expressing their emotions, and they actually may later on withdraw or even explode. That is because it's not because that they're bad people, it's because the inner child inside them was never allowed to feel before. Their background didn't allow them to feel. So later on they always keep on exploding with anger, and you can't wish to stay where such people are. And I'm gonna just use this normal example. As I've mentioned before, that the society has trained men to be strong and bold. They're always told not to cry because people will see them as weak creatures. I want to remind you that there is this short verse in the Bible that says Jesus wept. I think it's in the book of John 11. I can't remember the verse specifically. It says Jesus wept. If Jesus wept, who are you not to weep? Who are you not to weep? You need you also need to feel. You're allowed to feel your emotions are valid. How you feel about some things, it's really valid. You don't have to feel offended, you know so there is this proverb that says that a child who is not embraced by the village will burn it down because he or she wants to feel the warmth. And I spoke about it when I was tackling toxic parents, the topic that most of you people really loved and enjoyed. So, with this, I'm going to talk about this podcast that helped me resonate with this whole topic. There is a podcast that says, okay, there's a podcast with the name Let's Talk Mental Health Africa podcast. It's a podcast. You can go search it on YouTube or maybe Spotify for those people who love listening to podcasts. And a book I can recommend is Emotionally Healthy Spiritually by Peter. So, what else should I talk about? Someone who was silenced as a child they may end up over apologizing when they become adults. At times to them, boundaries may look like it's not boundaries. So yeah, you need to know that. And now, after I've spoken about reparenting yourself, so I want us now to speak about boundaries. When I say boundaries, I'm now talking about the measures you put whenever you're trying to protect your inner child. Nyambura, shut up. You can as well just get out of my life. If you feel like you want me to shut up, I may not be here to impress everyone. So if I'm not impressing you, kindly use the door to leave. Yeah, there are so many other live streams you can join there. If you feel comfortable in other live streams, go there. You don't have to be here and comment negatively in my live stream. I'm just here to vibe with the people who are here to vibe. This is healing with people. You're just here, good vibes only, no negativities. Yeah. So when I was talking about boundaries, I'm trying to basically mean that protecting your inner child. It's like you're protecting that younger self, that younger you that never was protected. And boundaries protect your inner child from harm. It's like at times they communicate that you're safe, that you're valued. You do not have to endure what really hurts you. And at times boundaries may include saying no to draining demands. It also includes protecting your time and energy. At times, I'm just like trying to help you understand how what boundaries looks like. It looks like limiting toxic influences, and also it looks like guarding your mental and emotional space. So how do you know that you've set boundaries that are really protecting you? At times it's because whenever you're telling someone no, you'll say a no without ever feeling guilty about it. So at times when you are silenced as a child, you turn out to be really over apologetic. Like, you keep on saying sorry even when you don't need to say sorry. And at times boundaries may look like, I hear you. This is for people who really didn't who really were not protected, who were not heard when they were still young. At times people may offend you, and you just like choose to let go easily without speaking up about it. You can't express it. Francis Mwakazi, hi, ukwaje? So you like may not speak about, like, you can't tell someone you've done this to me. All you can do is to say that I hear you, but I will not tolerate. And then you again feel like you've disrespected this person in question. So like I boundaries is one way of you saying no, or telling someone off without feeling guilty. When they disrespected you loudly, you're there to tell them loudly too that they disrespected you, and you can't like create room for that disrespect. Hi Solan, I hope you're doing good. Hi Winnie. Yeah. So with this, even I think the Bible itself has given part where like you can talk about boundaries, where it says let your yes be a yes and your no be a no. That is in the book of Matthew chapter 5 verse 37, if I'm not wrong. You can go as well read that book. And what do I mean by saying that let your yes be a yes and your no be a no? It means like the heart can hold so much before it demands a new way to beat. I'm from Kenya. Where are you watching me from? Yeah. So with this, I'm gonna again refer some books that are good for you. You can go listen to a podcast. Okay, for the people who love listening to podcasts and audiobooks, the podcast is the Self Healer Soundboard. It's a podcast. You can as well read a book that is Set Boundaries and Find Peace by Nedra. It's just even the title itself is self-explanatory. The moment you set boundaries, you find your own peace. Another topic I want us to tackle is now breaking the cycles. Remember, we are breaking cycles with J Victory. What's your short name? My short name is Vic. Yeah. Where are you watching me from? So, breaking cycles with J Victory. How do we break these cycles that kept on being a pattern before? Breaking cycles is the culmination of understanding. It's reparenting yourself and also protecting that inner child in you. It's choosing a new path. It's like stopping patterns of trauma, fear, and even neglect. So every step Thank you, thank you. So every step, every path you choose to, every step, every new path, every step of stopping patterns of trauma, fear, and even neglect, or every step, I just want to remind you that it's a declaration. It's like you're refusing to let your past define your future. Yeah. So if you know your parents used to silence you, that was maybe okay, used silence as a punishment before, you can choose communication. And I like it about the current generation of parents that we have. Most of them are into breaking cycles. How they were raised, they're trying to be different from the parents that their parents were. And it's a good sign that shows that really we are doing good as a society. And also, if you know you faced criticism as okay, that if you know criticism was constant to you, you can as well now choose encouragement. If before your love used to feel withheld, you can choose to warm it and even make it even more affectionate to your own self. Even the Bible itself talks about how what do we say? It talks about self-love, and in the book of Isaiah chapter 43 verse 19 it says that behold, I'm doing a new thing. Now it springs forth, that you do not perceive it. And what do I mean when I okay, what do I mean like when I'm trying to say that it's now time for you to choose warmth and affections what for the kind of love that felt withheld before. Hi Ruth, hi Essie, how are you doing? Like, what do I mean? It means that the moment you try to ruin, okay, the ruin of a nation begins in the homes of its people. If your home is spoiled, there is no single way you're going to make a nation look even good or look even better, because you're a spoiled person. So that is what I'm trying to say, that if the reign of a nation doesn't just start right now. It starts from how things were at home. And what is the book that I can recommend in this? It's Reclaiming and Healing Your Inner Child by Thema Bryant. I think that's a good book that talks about you breaking the cycles of toxicity in you. And I've said before that I just love the new generation of parents that we have right now. You know, we have different generations. We have millennials who were raised by generation, I think it's baby boomers or generation X, and most of the parents there used to be so toxic. And right now, millennials are raising Gen Zs, and even Gen Zs are raising Generation Alpha and Generation Beta. And most of us talk about how they want their children to experience life differently from how they knew life to be when they were growing up. That is a sign that people are breaking cycles of some negativity and toxicity in their lives. And the last thing I want us to talk about is forgiveness and releasing. As I mentioned before, that talks forgiveness is not for the better of this other person. Mostly it's always for the better of your own self, for the good of your own self. Like, forgiveness is less about others and it's more about freeing your inner child. It does not mean reconciliation basically, by as to how it's always described. It means saying the pain will not define me. It means saying that this pain will not carry me forever, you know. So forgiving a parent for emotional neglect doesn't mean inviting them back into your life at times. It means you releasing the grip of their actions on your heart. So that is basically about forgiveness. It's like finding your own self peace, you know. It's releasing that anger that you've always it's releasing the grudges that you've held for years. And there is this African president, I think right now he's late, Nelson Mandela. He said that as I walk out the door towards my freedom, I knew that I did not leave my bitterness behind. I would still be in prison if he didn't leave his bitterness behind. because he was tortured and he still came back embracing the people who even tortured him. So at times you can go read this book, forgiving what you can't forget. I've told you it is good to forgive. You're not forgiving because you're trying to release this person. It's because you're trying to release that inner pain that you've held for long. And even the Bible itself says that forgiving one another just as God forgave you. You know, God is the ultimate. God forgives. Even the when Jesus was teaching his disciples on how to pray, he spoke about forgiving. He told them he taught them on how to forgive others because God too forgives us, you know. So forgiveness is quite important. And I think this leads us today into our today's live stream, because I'm done tackling the topics I wanted to talk about when it came to healing the inner child. Beautiful family, tonight we've really journeyed together through memory, pain, joy, and even restoration. Just like the guy in Mount Kenya that I've just told you the story about. I know the story was a little bit not fluent because of the good instructions I got from you that made me forget about the story. Okay, the child inside you, I want to remind you that the child inside you is still alive, that your gifts, your innocence, and even your resilience are still within you. They have not gone. Healing is possible, it's not impossible. Boundaries can always be set, cycles can always be broken, and pain can always be released. So, I want you to take a moment to embrace your life. Okay, your inner child tonight. Speak to that child in you. Tell him or her that they are safe. Tell them that you're loved, and even tell them that you're coming home. Yes. I want you to talk that inner child in you, the child that is wounded. Remember that healing is a journey. It's not a destination. It takes time. Allow yourself to take the longest time it can, and there will be days and strength. There will be days of strength and days of tears, but both are part of your story. Embrace them. I'm J Victory. This is J Victory, Breaking Cycles with J Victory. And thank you so much for joining in this channel. Thank you so much for trusting me with your healing journey. Your healing is of significance to me, and may your inner child find peace. Let your inner child find the strength to again be that good person. May your journey be full of life, joy, and love. And let peace begin today, tonight, as I'm talking to you. Hi, Judy Matata. I hope you're doing fine. Subscribe to my channel kindly. I love you all. Thank you so much for joining in this live stream. We've actually been here for around 38 minutes, almost 40. We were speaking about breaking cycles with